Hello everyone, and welcome to today's match in round 1 of the St. Louis VGC Draft League. We have Ben coaching the Lily Cove Land Sharks against Crove, current team unnamed. We have an interesting matchup today, Ben being one of the first trainers to pick in the draft. So he was able to select and build a team around Mega Floette, the number 2 player in the draft, grabbing the second most prized Pokemon. He has a team supporting that piece, but Crove going with a slightly different approach, wanting to have normal Floette Eternal, and Mega Kangaskhan, but we don't see either of those here. So we see Ben coming in with that Mega Floette, Aegislash, Klefki, Reuniclus, Krookodile, and of course the Mimikyuu. Meanwhile, we see from Crove's side, we see Mega Dragalge, Watchog, Malamarr, Paldean, Tauros, Blaze Breed, just regular Venusaur and Rotom Frost. So right off the bat, I see a lot of fairies on Ben's side of the field wanting to take advantage of that fairy aura. Crove having the Mega Dragalge for an answer, normal Dragalge able to do massive poison type damage, and the Paldean Tauros Blaze Breed neutral to the fairy moves, but seeming to expect the poison and fighting types. A Reuniclus was sent out along with Klefki. So we have Prankster Klefki threatening to go before anyone else, with Reuniclus being the slowest Pokemon in the field, potentially threatening Trick Room, potentially threatening massive damage. Magic Garb Life Orb combo allows it to skyrocket that even further if that's what Ben is running. But no Megas led by either opponent, by either side. You have to wonder, what does Crove want to do here? With the speed tiers, a massive Draco Meteor or Sludge Bomb could come down into Reuniclus. It might survive, but instead just going for a straight protect on that Dragalge, wanting to keep itself safe this turn, as a Reflect comes out from the Klefki. Now this is interesting, because Raging Bull, if I'm not mistaken, just immediately breaks that Reflect. Not expecting the Fire-type Raging Bull to come out this turn, Ben has his screen immediately broken, but a Trick Room comes out, and now Reuniclus says, that was a cute Protect this past turn, but now I have the speed advantage. And you have to imagine that this Reuniclus, whatever Psychic move it clicks, is going to do massive damage, if not straight one-hit KO, both of Crove's Pokemon that he currently has on the field. Now Crove does have a Dark type in the back, able to switch in, that Ben will have to make a read on. And so we'll be playing that game. We saw that Raging Bull do big damage, but the Tauros is going to switch out, going into that Malamarr, trying to bait the Psychic type move into there. Meanwhile, Dragalge saying, alright, I need a little bit more bulk. I'll ditch the adaptability for now. I'll go for the Mega Evolution and see what I can do. Klefki goes for Thunder Wave. Dark type blocks the Prankster, and a Psychic goes into that Mega Dragalge. It does hang on fairly well for a super effective hit, and there goes a Sludge Bomb straight into the Reuniclus, doing moderate chip, but nowhere near enough. No adaptability boost means that the Mega Dragalge Sludge Bomb probably isn't as strong as an adaptability boosted one. So we've gone down a turn of Trick Room. Now we do have Malamarr on the field threatening big contrary shenanigans, or just a straight Night Slash into the Reuniclus, potentially being able to take it out. And Ben's side of the field, he can stat them to be slow, invest in negative speed natures, but none of his other Pokemon besides his Reuniclus are naturally really that slow. Here comes the Aegislash, wanting to preserve the Reuniclus for later to deal with things, but the Regenerator on that Mega Dragalge is going to heal it straight back up, and Intimidate comes out, going into these Pokemon, chipping down their attack stats. That could be very impactful for this Aegislash. A Dazzling Gleam comes out, but with no Fairy Aura boosts, it does moderate to little damage to both Pokemon. We see that the Calamari Squid on Crove's side of the field, the Malamarr, is leftovers, wanting to get massive defensive boosts set up with that superpower and just be able to snowball through this game. We'll see how that goes for it going forward. If this Aegislash is specially inclined, then that will be very good for it. But instead, we see a King Shield coming out from the Aegislash. We see no offense put out by Ben this turn, just opting to Thunder Wave into the Tauros, and another superpower into the Klefki does not quite take it out. And we see a Raging Bull go straight into that King Shield that is going to lower the attack stat of this Tauros, weakening it further. Now, Klefki probably has one more attack left in it, but it could go for another Dazzling Gleam. We know it has Reflect, Dazzling Gleam, and Thunder Wave, but if it goes for Reflect, another Raging Bull will just pop it. Really good utility, having a strong stab move that just shatters Reflects. That will do Crove well throughout this league. And honestly, let's take a quick look. There's only one more turn of Trick Room, and that Paralysis on the Tauros is potentially going to cause problems this turn. So we see the attack, the Poltergeist, come out, but with the -1 attack on the Aegislash and the +2 defense on the Malamarr, it takes that well and gets a one-hit KO onto the Aegislash with knockoff. We see that we have information that was a spell tag boosted move, but still the Malamarr stays standing. And we have a double KO here by Crove, taking out both steel types on the field. So the Trick Room has ended, but we know one of the Pokemon in the back is in fact the Reuniclus, which is going to be the slowest Pokemon on either team. Even the Tauros will probably be faster than it despite being paralyzed. But in the back, we do see the incredibly threatening Mega Floette, probably able to outspeed both of these Pokemon after Mega Evolving, and you have to expect a double up here will be able to handle both Pokemon on the field. The Mega Evolution special attack stat of this Mega Floette, along with the Fairy Aura boosting its Moonblast, Dazzling Gleams, excuse me, just allows it to do so much damage. We see it now going for that Mega Evolution, that late game Mega Evolution, stalling out Ben's own Trick Room to allow this Pokemon to hit the field safely. And there is that Dazzling Gleam. The Malamarr protected itself, but let's see how this Tauros does, and it does go down. So that leaves just this Reuniclus left, going for a Psychic, predicting maybe a switch or just not wanting to reveal any further move choices. This Malamarr is weak to this, but we see, what do you need into a Fairy type? You need a Resistance, a Poison type by Crove. So this Venusaur comes out completely safe, completely healthy, and will be faster than this Reuniclus. So now we have an interesting situation where this Venusaur is threatening Sleep. This Venusaur is threatening super effective damage onto this Mega Floette. But the Venusaur in turn is threatened by this Reuniclus if it is allowed to stay up. We see a single target Moonblast wanting to go into this Malamarr, maybe predicting a switch, not wanting to spread damage to risk not doing enough to take out a potential switch in. And we see the Sludge Bomb, massive damage, but not quite able to get the KO. But a Sludge Bomb poison will allow the Venusaur to take out this Mega Floette at the end of the turn. That's absolutely massive. However, this Venusaur is invested in special attack. You saw the Life Orb. With the Life Orb chip, this Psychic is going to take it down. So we have a one-on-one situation here at the end. The Mega Dragalge versus this Reuniclus in a one-on-one here at the end. So the Dragalge has recovered some, is back over half health with that regenerator, and you just have to wonder, will this Reuniclus be able to take out this Mega Dragalge at this point? A Draco Meteor comes out, not wanting to have two chances to KO with Sludge Bomb, but even with the increased power of Draco Meteor, that's not enough to take out this Reuniclus, an incredibly bulky Pokemon in its own right, and it does retaliate with a Psychic, and even with the Regenerator, the Mega Dragalge does go down, giving Ben the first win in this series. So let's just update this on the overlay. Congratulations to Ben, showing that keeping a very powerful Pokemon in the back can do absolute wonders. Let's see. So as we go back into this game too, you have to think to yourself, how can Crove adapt to this? I think that the four he brought, there weren't any serious problems with. Perhaps applying a little bit more offense while Trick Room was up in order to be able to outspeed under Trick Room with a little bit more Trick Room left. Perhaps that could be useful. The Malamarr was very good, but just not able to do anything into the Fairy type Mega Floette at the end, but did make good work of the rest of Ben's team getting set up there, leftovers allowing it to stay up. So we'll see how these trainers will adjust. Ben, of course, just needing one more match to clinch this 2-game series. So we see Crove swatching out, bringing in entirely new Pokemon, Rotom Frost and Watchog. Watchog being, some consider it a bit of a meme, but it does have some interesting talents. It has sleep access with Hypnosis. It has access to Analytic to go second and do surprising amounts of damage with stab normal moves. But we see the Mega Floette coming out immediately here at the start, threatening massive damage, and a Klefki able to protect it with at least Reflect, possibly Light Screen. There is no Tauros on the field in order to mitigate this damage at this time. Mitigate the reflection, rather, with a Raging Bolt. We see the immediate Mega Evolution from this Floette, and threatening big stab fairy damage, Moonblast or Dazzling Gleam. We see the Light Screen coming out, wanting to protect the field from this Rotom, and instead, oh my, Mega Floette is just immediately going for Calm Minds, thinking, I can set up safely. I am protected right now. A raw Blizzard goes out, does connect into both of Ben's Pokemon, but with that Reflect, even with the resistance on the Klefki and the Reflect, oh wow, going for really inaccurate moves. But perhaps that's the gamble. You don't know. Is he running Wide Lens and Zoom Lens on these Pokemon to massively increase the accuracy? Perhaps. Either way, Crove with a very fortunate turn 1, getting some decent chip and sleep with Hypnosis. So now, even with the Calm Mind and special defense boost, this Mega Floette is getting worn down. Now this Dazzling Gleam does do good damage with the Fairy Aura boosting it, but this Mega Floette has used its guaranteed turn of sleep, but I don't think it's going to enjoy taking one more set of double ups. So you really want it to wake up this turn or switch it out for safety. But if you switch it out, you're not getting the boosted... Oh, we see the wake up in an immediate protect. That is very dangerous. We probably saw a double up into that slot. But no, instead of detect, predicting a potential wake up and a Will-O-Wisp going into that slot instead. Reading the wake up, but not being able to do anything about the protection play used by this Mega Floette. Now we see a Dazzling Gleam. The Watchog is protected. The Rotom does survive. However, now we have an Awake Floette chipped down far more than it would have been otherwise, but a very dangerous +1 Floette ready to do some real damage on this turn. I'm not sure with +1, if the Klefki's Dazzling Gleam did so much to these two Pokemon, you have to imagine the Mega Floettes will do far more. So what does Crove have in the back waiting for this, or is he going to let both of his Pokemon go down? He lets them both go down. So it's down to the last two Pokemon Crove has in the back. And we'll see, I assume, just a Dazzling Gleam, ready for, in case of a switch out, just doing a little bit more chip. What does Crove have in the back here? So we see the Dragalge coming out and the Venusaur coming out. Once more going for these Poison-type Pokemon, trying to deal with this Mega Floette. However, both of these Poison-type Pokemon don't especially love seeing Klefki, especially not behind a light screen. A Venusaur can throw out an Earth Power to try to deal with it, but Dragalge is just stuffed by this Klefki. It can definitely go for a Sludge Bomb and probably take out this Mega Floette at this point, but Klefki is going to be able to massively inconvenience both of these Pokemon on the field right now. So we'll see. We haven't seen the 4th move option on this Mega Floette. Dazzling Gleam, Protect, Calm Mind. It chooses to just go for Protect again, just stalling out, and the Dragalge also just goes for Protect. So let's see. The Thunder Wave into... Oh, no, is dodged by the Frog, in fact, this Venusaur. So just a completely stalled turn. The light screen wears off, so you have to wonder, is Klefki going to try to reset that, or is it going to try to continue its Dazzling Gleam or Thunder Wave shenanigans onto these teams? And in fact, sacrificing the Calm Mind boost, immediately just switching out, going into a Poison-type resist, this Krookodile. The Intimidate probably isn't going to matter too much, but with this light screen, with a resist, Poison moves thrown into that slot probably will not do very much. We see a Giga Drain coming out from the Venusaur, just trying to do some chip to this Klefki. Probably wishes that went into the Krookodile slot at this moment. We see the Klefki just ending the turn with more health than it started with that Citrus Berry. Unfortunate. We really would love to see an Earth Power right now, but maybe Crove didn't think he had the bandwidth with 4 move slots to keep it and everything else it wanted. The Sludge Bomb goes into the Krookodile, but even with adaptability, the resistance completely neutralizes that, and then with the light screen, this Krookodile is sitting very healthy. The Dragalge now is saying, I want the extra bulk, I want to Mega Evolve in order to better handle what's in front of me. So we will see what comes next. We see a Thunder Wave go out into this Mega Dragalge, probably not outspeeding either the Klefki baseline or the Krookodile, but we see a knockoff going into the Venusaur. It does survive, but loses the Life Orb. It goes for a Giga Drain straight into the Krookodile, but with the light screen, the Krookodile hangs on. It does heal the Venusaur up quite a bit, back over half. And we see an Icy Wind coming out, just trying to chip down these Pokemon. The Krookodile does go down, and the Klefki does see a speed drop, but it is still very, very healthy. And now we have an interesting situation. What does Ben want to go into? The Mega Floette is at lower HP, and he does go into it, so Ben must think that getting off one big attack will be the difference maker in this game. So we have seen that Crove does have a move to hit Klefki, with it being Icy Wind. So it is not completely helpless in the face of this Klefki. But you have to imagine that this Mega Floette is going to go for big damage into these Pokemon, but with the Poison type, the Venusaur lives. However, that is a disastrous special attack drop. This Venusaur was specially built, but losing the Life Orb, losing that special attack is going to hinder it so much. However, with the HP recovered from that -1 Giga Drain, it is able to stay up, live another turn. However, it might all be for naught because this Mega Dragalge gets paralyzed that would have been the moment. It would have been able to take out this Mega Floette with one more Sludge Bomb, more than likely. And with that, I think that might just be all she wrote. A double Dazzling Gleam here might just be enough. Definitely will take out the Venusaur, and might just be enough to take out this Mega Dragalge. Maybe not, but it's looking in dire straits for the Mega Dragalge at this moment. Down to a third of its HP, does go for the Sludge Bomb, does take out the Mega Floette, helps preserve that differential. But even without the Fairy Aura boost, you have to imagine 2 or 3 more Dazzling Gleams will take out this Mega Dragalge, and that's not even counting the Mimikyuu that was hiding in the back the entire time on Ben's team. It's out now, and I think that's about all she wrote for Crove this game. A good series. Love to see the poison types come out to try to manage this Mega Floette, but you see why this Pokemon was the second most expensive Pokemon to draft in this tournament, just behind Mega Charizard Y. It is an absolute menace that must be accounted for. I expect it to come to every one of Ben's match this season. We see the Mimikyuu come in and just clean up the Mega Dragalge. Congratulations to Ben, going 2-0 in this series and winning this week 1 of the Draft League, Crove. I look forward to seeing what the Watchog and the rest of your team will do in future weeks. But congratulations to both of our players, and I will see you all, dear viewers, in the next video. Goodbye!